Hey, our upgrade pace is looking solid right now, but I do think we need to push harder if we want to stay competitive. Here's the report.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the F1 2016 career mode with Manor. As you can see, we've got a little bit of a update with vehicle performance comparison, with Renault making some upgrades for Silverstone here, but it looks like our upgrade for at the end of the Austrian Grand Prix didn't actually register, so it looks like we're going to have to purchase that upgrade again. Fortunately, those resource points weren't lost, so we just have to upgrade the car this time around and have to wait until Hungary for the downforce upgrade to come into play. We might be able to do a second upgrade as well at this particular race, as long as we get enough resource points here. But as you can see at the top there, we've got a real good fight now between the top three. Williams once again making another upgrade, and they're level with Mercedes and Red Bull at the top. So we could have some very interesting qualifying sessions for the next couple of races as we now set up and purchase the downforce upgrade once again. And hopefully this time it should be on the car for Hungary. But let's get into practice at the British Grand Prix.
Welcome to Silverstone, home of Formula One racing in Great Britain, where shortly we're expecting the cars to appear for today's practice session. Anthony Davidson, you've driven this circuit more than a few times in your career, and you've been around long enough to remember the pre-wing layout as well. But how do you like Silverstone in its current guise?
Well, the old circuit was a lot of fun, of course, but I do like the current layout. The reprofiled Abbey is faster than it used to be, and I always felt it was missing a sort of slow technical section. And now the corners up at Village and the Loop gives us that. So yeah, I'm a fan, and on top of that, I think it's created some more overtaking opportunities.
Alright, welcome to Silverstone for the start of the British Grand Prix, beginning with practice one. As you can see, already onto the track acclimatization as we head into turn one. Very fast sweeping Abbey corner as we head up towards the slow part of the actual lap itself. As we now cut to the end of the actual lap, it was actually quite hard to get the maximum resource points on the first lap for the track acclimatization, but then I did another lap and I was able to smash or get the purple score available there, so we were able to get maximum amount of research points once again out of the track acclimatization. We then moved on into the tyre wear test, and this was actually quite a challenge for me. There were quite a few sections of the circuit that was quite hard to get the tyre wear balance right and also get the appropriate time, because for some reason I seem to be struggling around in certain areas of the circuit, mainly towards the end of the lap with corners such as Club Corner. I think it's this corner here particularly, and then the final two corners as we head on to the start-finish straight. As we come to the end of our first qualifying time, we just about get the purple lap time, which means we'll get the maximum resource points for qualifying as well. Using the yellow soft tyres for this particular weekend. Soft tyres are the softest compound available for Silverstone, with the mediums and hards alongside that. We've got the fastest time available there, so we're going to get maximum resource points in practice, and let's get into a cutscene.
Hey, looks like you've got a bit of rivalry going on out there. This is good. Gets people talking about you. Just make sure you outperform them, okay?
Okay, so we've got a brand new rival for this weekend, but unfortunately for us, it's an unrealistic rival. It's Nico Rosberg, who's just ahead of us in the Drivers' Championship there. It's going to be very unrealistic for us to actually try and beat him at all, so we're just going to have to try our best here as we go into qualifying.
Welcome to this afternoon's qualifying session here at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix.
Alright, here we are in Q1. As you can see, we're not messing about at all with the tyres. We're going straight onto the option tyres, considering the fact that we haven't got the pace overall compared to some of the cars around us in general from the practice session. So, decided to go out for 2 laps on the same yellow soft tyres, and hopefully we will have a good enough time for us to get into the second part of qualifying. Second lap was a little bit better, mainly because the first one was really a banker, and then the second one I could easily just improve because of the delta. As you can see there, we sneaked through in 12th position at the end of Q1 there, using the yellow tyres. So quite a few guys getting through on the medium tyres, but those are the guys at the front of the field. As we scroll down to the bottom there, Pascal Wehrlein unfortunately missing out on Q2 once again, along with Gutierrez, Magnussen, Palmer, and the 2 Saubers that will occupy the back 2 rows of the grid. Moving on into Q2 now, and I knew that this would probably be touch and go as to whether we could extend our streak of making it into the final part of qualifying here. It may have been a bit more of an advantage if we did miss out on on the final part of qualifying, because that means we would be able to set or start the race on a set of tyres. But fortunately, we were able to just squeak into the final part of qualifying there, just eking out the Toro Rosso of Carlos Sainz in 11th there. 3 guys managing to get into the final part of the qualifying session on medium tyres there, Max Verstappen and the 2 Williams cars. So those 2 could be very interesting to watch come the race. And in terms of who else missed out in qualifying there, Nico Hülkenberg, the 2 McLaren Hondas, Kvyat and Grosjean all the way down in 16th place. We then moved on into the final part of qualifying, and to be honest, we're just going to use one timed lap again and see where we end up. We're not as quick as some of the Super 6 that's now formed at the top of the pack with the 2 Red Bulls, the 2 Mercedes and the 2 Williams in terms of the vehicle performance comparison, but also Ferrari are in there as well. So we'll just have to wait and see if we can beat the Force India of Perez as we come through the final corner right about now. As you can see, we just about beat Perez into 9th place there, and that's the position we were able to hold at the end of the qualifying session, qualifying in on the 5th row for our home Grand Prix. That's absolutely fantastic. As you can see at the top there, it's an all-finish front row with Raikkonen out-qualifying Bottas in the Williams there. The 2 Red Bulls locking out the 2nd row, with Hamilton, the championship leader, all the way down in 5th alongside Vettel in 6th, and Massa and Rosberg occupying row 4. So we could have a very interesting race this coming up, considering the pace improvement of Williams and also the fact that we've got Ferrari on pole position. So let's get on with it and let's move on to the race at the British Grand Prix.
The pain of parting is nothing to the joy of meeting again. And how joyous indeed it is to be back at Silverstone once more for the British Grand Prix. The queues to get in this morning extended miles back down the A43, such is the enthusiasm for Formula One in this country. Straddling the border of Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire, the 18 corners of the Silverstone circuit form the 3.6-mile beating heart of Formula One. It's been reinvented over the years, with Turn 1 now the fast right-hander of Abbey, along with 2 DRS zones on the Wellington and Hanger Straights respectively. But the magic of racing is as strong here as it's ever been. With me today is a man who's no stranger to the thrills of Silverstone. He's a past winner here in sports cars, of course. It's our good friend Anthony Davidson. You seem particularly excited for this one, Ant. Is there something you want to tell me?
Oh, just looking forward to it, Crofty. It's always a very special atmosphere, and also I started karting in the late 1980s, and I was here for that epic race in 1986 with Mansell and Piquet fighting each other right here in my home Grand Prix. So coming back to Silverstone always means a lot, and looking at the crowd today, it's clear that none of that spirit has been lost. And also, we just have such a fantastic field this year, some very close competition and conditions that should make for some great racing. I can't wait.
Okay, I know it's your home Grand Prix, but treat it like any other race. Don't take unnecessary risks.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Kimi Raikkonen starts today from pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Ricciardo, Lewis Hamilton and Vettel, Massa, Rosberg, Manor and Sergio Perez, Sainz, Hülkenberg, Fernando Alonso and Button, Kvyat, Grosjean, Pascal Wehrlein and Esteban Gutierrez, Magnussen and Palmer, Felipe Nasser and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Okay, let's have a quick look at the race strategy for today. I decided to go for a little bit more of an unconventional strategy, given the time difference between the 2 possible pit stop strategies here. I decided to go for the lower tyre management one because we've been struggling so much with this tyre wear. I thought maybe I could have enough pace in the car on fresher tyres to try and catch up to the field that I've made one less pit stop. So fingers crossed this actually works out. If it doesn't, then it's on me, but we'll have to wait and see on that as we now cut on to the formation lap. In terms of the actual race itself, I hope we can get a good start and get ahead of some of the guys in front, like possibly Rosberg and maybe Vettel. Let's just see what actually happens at the race starts for the British Grand Prix as we come up to the end of the formation lap and ready to start the race.
Once the grid is formed, be ready with the clutch.
Lights out and away we go. It's a pretty okay start off the line. As you can see on the right hand side there, Vettel's had a shocking start, and that's resulted in Rosberg losing out to us as well as we come up towards turn 1 and turn 2. Perez has also made some ground up as well from his 10th position on the grid as we come up towards turn 3. We've got a little, actually more of a massive scrap. It's for second here as Raikkonen goes off into the distance. It looks like Verstappen is currently holding second place for now, but we're actually going to go back on board with Vettel's perspective and see what actually happened. He just completely bogs down and he loses a place to Massa straight away, then to us on the left hand side there, and he then tries to go into turn 1. Then he has to leave some room on the inside though, because Perez was there. And as we go on board with Rosberg's perspective, he's going to try and go round the outside of Vettel, but because of Perez going up the inside there, Rosberg has to back out of it, and unfortunately has lost another place there. As we now cut on to lap 2, we're going to try and make use of these yellow soft tyres here. As you can see in front, Massa is on medium, so he's going to have we're going to be slightly faster than I think than the Williams at the moment, because of course both our tyres will be worn due to the fact that we qualified on these tyres in Q2 as he tried to go around the outside of Massa at the start of the old start finish straight in towards Copse corner, but Massa's having none of it, and we're going to try and see if we can make a move before the Maggots and Beckett's complex, but it looks like we're not close enough and we're going to have to back out of a possible move, and also back behind, drop back a little bit, because this is a really tough spot to be in to follow a car in this particular section, especially with the tyre wear. As we now got on to lap 4, we're in the DRS range of Felipe Massa here. We could have a real chance of overtaking the Williams driver just before our pit stop lap, as you can see coming in towards Brooklands here, and then we're heading up towards Luffield as well, and we're now going to see if we can try and get a good drive off the corner here, see if we can try and overtake Massa into Copse here. As you can see, we're getting closer and closer to Williams. We're going to cut to the inside, and it looks like we've got the move done before Copse corner, which is absolutely fantastic. Doesn't mean we have to compromise our speed into the corner there, and we're able to take the position up. And unfortunately for us, it's actually our pit stop lap at the end of lap 4. The yellow soft tyres don't last that long, and I completely forgot this as well. The pit lane speed limit is actually a lot slower compared with the speed limit that you have in the other tracks that we saw before as we cut to our actual pit stop. As you can see, we managed to stay ahead of Perez there. That's absolutely crucial. But as you can see, Perez has gone on to mediums, whereas we've gone on to softs. So it looks like Perez has only got one more stop to make compared to us. We've got to make an additional stop, so we've got 2 stops after this particular pit stop here as we exit the pits in P21st right now. So it's quite an early pit stop here as we now cut to the end of lap 5. We've made up a couple of places on the pit stop here to come through into turn 1 right about now, but it looks like we've just managed to get ahead of Rosberg there, but unfortunately we've lost out to Sebastian Vettel, so we've lost a place there to the Ferrari like we did in Austria there. We're now under threat from Rosberg though on the very next lap. He's actually pushing us through the corner there, making a little bit of contact with trying to overtake us. We're going to force him on the outside there, hold it around Stowe corner here, and we're able to maintain position for now. But then this battle just continued throughout the rest of this particular stint here as Rosberg tries to make a move on the hanger straight, once again hitting us. As you can see, we're trying to stay on our recommended pit stop strategy. He's up the inside into the stone, but can we get enough traction on the outside there to hold the position? No, we can't. As you can see, Rosberg's now overtaking us. We're going to try and overtake up the inside into club corner though, and we've managed to make the move stick, and we've managed to take our position back up into P12 for now as we now cut to the hanger straight once again. Rosberg's going to have another go at us as we head up towards the corner. He's hit us again though. That's 3 times in the space of 3 laps that he's hit as we come towards Stowe corner. He wasn't able to make a move up the inside there as we managed to cover him off this time around. As we're now cut to lap 9, we're actually onto the Wellington straight now, and Rosberg's much closer to us than what he was on previous attempts on this particular straight. That's why we're actually on board here as he goes up the inside into the corner here. We might be able to hold it around the outside and have the inside line for Luffield though, so we're able to maintain position. We're up into P7 after some guys who started on the mediums have made their pit stop as we're now at the end of lap 9. Rosberg trying to go around the outside into Stowe corner here, but actually we've gone completely wide, and that's allowed Rosberg to cut back to the inside. It's actually our second pit stop now. We're actually going to come on to the medium tyres here as we come into the pits for the second time, as I've mentioned before. But let's hope we don't lose as much time as we expect. Let's fingers crossed there's either a safety car or something, because I think we might have made a bit of a mess up when it comes to the actual strategy here.
Go, go, go.
So as the pit crew releases us from our pit stop, they've done very well once again with the time, as you can see there. But unfortunately for us, we're now right at the back of the field. Marcus Ericsson is actually out of the race, hence why we're P21st out of 21, and Ericsson's car is still on the left-hand side there. As you can see, we're now a couple of laps later. We've managed to catch up to the Toros of Danil Kvyat, who's actually been suffering from some technical issues. That's the reason why he's now 20th. As you can see, we're going to get really good drive off the last corner, or the original last corner, and we're coming up towards Cops now. We've gone straight past the Toro Rosso, and we've moved up another place. And you saw caught a glimpse there of the next car ahead, which is Felipe Nasr. That is the only Sauber left, who scored a fantastic result in Brazil in real life, as you heard from the Brazilian Grand Prix that's just happened. As we come up the inside here of the Sauber and overtake him for 19th position. That's a little bit of payback for overtaking Manor in the Constructors' Championship in real life. As we now cut to a bit later on in the race, it's the start of towards the end of lap 17. We've managed to catch up, or trying to catch up to the Force India of Perez. There's a couple of guys that have made their pit stops. There's a virtual safety car here, and that's gonna definitely help us out, as this is actually our pit stop lap, and everybody's going to be going at a much slower pace. So I thought, take advantage of this virtual safety car, pit for the final time, and hopefully we'll be able to leapfrog a couple of the guys that are going pretty slowly and try and get ourselves back up into the points. You never know with this sort of situation whether another safety car might come out a bit later on, and that will close the field up as we put on a new set of medium tyres right there. As you can see, we dropped down to 18th position for now, but it looks like we're going to get ahead of the Renault of Kevin Magnussen. So that's a gained position there, which is absolutely fantastic, as the virtual safety car ends as soon as we exit the pits there. So that virtual safety car was absolutely fantastic when it comes to the timing of that. Anyways, we're now going to cut to a bit later on. Like, we're actually catching a couple of cars in front, and that's Romain Grosjean in the Haas. As you can see, there's actually a yellow flag incident in front of us. And look at this, it's Grosjean and also the Renault of Palmer that's both gone sideways. It must be a collision between the two of those drivers. There's Grosjean I think Palmer was out of the race there, and now Grosjean is out of the race. Let's actually have a look on the replay here. It actually involves our teammate Pascal Wehrlein, who's going up the inside of Palmer into Brooklyn. There's a bit of contact with the Renault, and Grosjean tries to go up the inside, hits Palmer and Wehrlein there. That puts Palmer out on the spot. We go on board with Grosjean here. As you can see, he's going for that inside line as Palmer's falls right. Palmer tries to cut back in. That takes his front left out. As you can see, Grosjean is completely blocking the inside line. He tries to get out the way, reversing a little bit, but he actually gets hit by the other Renault. So a little bit of payback there. And anyways, at the front, we've got a real scrap for the lead between Lewis Hamilton and Daniel Ricciardo. There wasn't really much in terms of action for me until the end of the race. So we're going to look on board and see what happens at the front of the field and see who's going to take this race. Daniel Ricciardo's taking the lead at Copse Corner. Behind there, you've got a battle between Verstappen and I think a Williams, who's in a little scrap there. So as we come up towards the Hangar Straight, Hamilton will have DRS and Mercedes power here as he comes up to Stowe Corner here. He looks like he's taking the inside line, and he's taking the lead with just a couple of corners to go. Unfortunately for us, though, we're not going to be able to get any sort of good result here. We're going to finish behind our teammate for the first time this season, so it's a really disappointing home Grand Prix for us.
Not good enough. Not good enough at all. Let's push harder next time, okay?
A great win then for the Mercedes team today. So as I say that, we can see the drivers coming out now to collect their trophies. It's yet more silverware to take back to their base in Brackley after another excellent Grand Prix. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the drivers' table. It's a good result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Moving on to the driver of the day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
I'm going to say Jenson Button. People always say he's a really smooth driver, but as he's shown here today, that's not at the expense of speed or overtaking skill.
And now let's take a look at the constructors' standings. Mercedes have extended their lead at the top of the standings. That's it for today's Grand Prix, and from Ant and I, it's goodbye and see you again next time.
So confirmation of the results in the British Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton taking the race victory there with 2 Red Bulls in 2nd and 3rd. Bottas in 4th for Williams, Vettel in 5th, Rosberg in 6th, Massa 7th, Jenson Button in 8th, very good drive from him. Kimi Raikkonen, who started on pole position all the way down in 9th place. He looks like he made the same poor strategy call as we did. And Perez took the final point for Force India in 10th. As you can see, we've finished behind our teammate for the first time there, unfortunately. And then we've got 3 retirements, Grosjean, Palmer and Marcus Ericsson. Let's now have a look and see how that affects the Drivers' Championship here. As you can see there, Verstappen has now gone ahead of us in the championship there. I was expecting that pretty much. And Massa's moved up into the top 10, as you can see there. And Button moving into the top 12 right there, near the bottom of the top half of the table there. Hamilton extending his lead, though, at the top of the championship. So it's not really an interesting title fight at the moment as we head into the midway point of the season. Meanwhile, in the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull are starting to really close the gap on for second place Ferrari, like they were doing in real life before they overhauled them towards the end of this season. As you can see, we've been reeled in slightly by Force India and McLaren Honda after they both their one driver for both of those teams scored points today. As we now cut to the end of the actual race itself, we're going to go to the driver rivalry. As you can see, we're getting completely destroyed by Nico Rosberg at this stage of the season, and also our driver status also takes a little hit for the very first time in this particular career. But this is really a blip race here, to be honest. I was really struggling to find extra pace around my home Grand Prix. I think we need a little bit more oomph when it comes to this particular circuit here.
Hey, do you have a minute? It took longer than I hoped, but we have offers. Take a look.
However, a big positive though was the fact that we managed to get some team offers from other teams here. As you can see, we've got offers from Force India, Toro Rosso and McLaren Honda, so that's absolutely fantastic for us here. But as we said earlier on, right at the start of the series, this is going to be just a road to glory with Manor, so in the end we decided to stick with Manor, and we actually had enough resource points prior to the next race in Hungary to upgrade another bit of the car. So I decided to upgrade the fuel efficiency here, and yeah, that's 2 upgrades ready for Hungary. Let's hope it makes us a little bit more competitive. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Apologies again for the delay on this. I've just been really busy once again. And if you did enjoy it, please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you for the next episode, which will be the Hungarian Grand Prix. So until then, see you later.